Victoria Langford, early 40s, blonde hair, sharp blue eyes, white blazer worn with the clean authority of someone who has earned every room she has ever walked into. CEO of Langford Financial Solutions in Charlotte, North Carolina, a company she built from 11 employees and a borrowed office to 240 people in a glass tower downtown. She ran it with precision, high standards, and the particular intensity of someone who has never once allowed herself the luxury of coasting. Connor Rains, early 30s, light brown hair, a short beard, blue Oxford shirt. Senior cybersecurity engineer, the quietest person in any room he occupied, which most people mistook for disengagement and which was, in fact, the opposite. The kind of man who notices everything and says only what is necessary. Who had been with Langford Financial for 4 years, never missed a deadline, never asked for recognition, and who, on a Wednesday morning in March, was found asleep at his desk at 9:15 in the morning, in full view of the open-plan floor. There are moments that look, from the outside, exactly like what they are not. We have all had them. A face that appears calm when it is actually exhausted. A silence that reads as indifference when it is, in truth, the quietest form of dedication. A man asleep at his desk who looks, to every eye in the room, like a man who simply does not care. It is worth remembering before we judge what we see that we are only ever seeing the surface, and that the surface, more often than we remember, is not the whole story. Victoria Langford arrived at the office at 8:45 on a Wednesday morning, the way she always arrived. Early, coffee in hand, already 2 emails deep into the day before she reached the elevator. She believed in standards the way some people believe in religion, not rigidly, not without warmth, but with genuine conviction that a company is only as good as what it asks of itself on ordinary days. She had said this in interviews. She had said it to new hires. She believed it in the quiet, consistent way of someone who has built something real and understands exactly what it cost. The floor was busy when she came through. The usual morning rhythm, keyboards, conversations, the low hum of screens. She walked her usual path from the elevator toward her office, exchanging the usual morning words with the usual people. And then she saw Connor Rains. He was at his desk in the security wing, a cluster of 4 workstations, set slightly apart from the main floor, surrounded by monitors that ran continuous feeds of network data, system logs, alert dashboards. His chair was pushed back slightly. His head was resting on his folded arms on the desk. His eyes were closed. The monitors around him were all active, all of them showing data. One of them showed a long string of resolved alerts, a column of green confirmations, running down the left side of the screen. Victoria saw the sleeping man. She did not yet see the screen. She stopped walking. Several people nearby had noticed her noticing the particular stillness that moves across an open floor when the person in charge has fixed their attention on something. She walked to his desk. She placed a hand on his shoulder, not roughly, but firmly, the way you wake someone when you want them, to understand the seriousness of the moment. Connor Rains opened his eyes. They focused slowly, the particular focus of someone coming up from very deep water. "Mr. Rains," Victoria said. Her voice was level. "This company does not pay people to sleep." He looked at her. Something moved across his face, not defiance, not apology exactly, more like the expression of a man who has just run a very long race and is being told he is standing in the wrong place. He said, "I know. I'm sorry." His voice was hoarse in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. Victoria looked at the monitors. For the first time, the column of green on the left screen, the timestamps running down the right side of another. She did not yet understand what she was seeing, but something in the data gave her a moment's pause. "My office," she said, "now." There is a particular walk that employees make, across an open floor toward the CEO's office. Everyone knows the walk? The floor goes slightly quieter. People find reasons to look at their screens. There is nothing malicious in it, just the old human instinct that recognizes significance, even when it doesn't know the details. Connor made that walk on a Wednesday morning in March, in a blue Oxford shirt he had been wearing for 2 days, with 48 hours behind his eyes, and the quiet composure of a man who had decided, somewhere around hour 36, that however this ended, he had done what needed doing. He sat down in the chair across from Victoria's desk. She remained standing, which was her habit when she was working something through. "I'm going to ask you directly," she said. "Is there a reason I should not be terminating your employment this morning?" Connor looked at the desk's surface for a moment. Then he looked up at her. "Yes," he said. "But I'd like you to check with your IT director first. His name is Marcus Webb. He's been in the server room since Monday night. He can explain it better than I can right now." A pause. "I'm having some trouble with words at the moment." Victoria looked at him for a long beat. She picked up her desk phone. Marcus Webb was 54 years old. He had been with Langford Financial longer than anyone except Victoria herself. He wore his silver hair short and his reading glasses on a cord around his neck. And he had the unshakable calm of a man who has seen enough technical crises to understand that panic is never a useful tool. He answered on the second ring. Victoria asked him, without preamble, to come upstairs and explain what had happened to the network since Monday. There was a brief silence on the line. Then Marcus said, "I was going to come see you this morning anyway. Give me 5 minutes." He arrived in 4. He stood in her office doorway, looked at Connor in the chair, and shook his head slowly, the way an older man shakes his head when he sees a younger one being stubborn in a way he recognizes and respects. Then he told Victoria what had happened. It had begun at 11:47 on Monday night. A sophisticated intrusion attempt, not a simple probe, but a coordinated, multi-vector attack targeting Langford Financial's client data infrastructure. The kind of attack that, if successful, would have compromised the financial records of over 14,000 clients. The kind of attack that would have meant regulatory penalties, reputational damage, and years of legal exposure. Connor had been working late. Not unusually, Marcus noted. He worked late most nights without being asked, without recording the hours, without mentioning it to anyone. He had detected the first anomaly at 11:52. He had immediately called. Marcus and the two of them had begun working together. Marcus managing system-level responses from the server room, Connor running the external-facing defense from his desk. They had worked through Monday night, through Tuesday, into Tuesday night and beyond. The attack had come in 6 distinct waves, each more sophisticated than the last. Each time the system had been stabilized, a new approach had been attempted. The attackers were skilled, patient, and well-resourced. Connor and Marcus had been, in those long hours, the only thing standing between 14,000 clients and a very serious morning. The final wave had been repelled at 8:23 on Wednesday morning. Connor had been at his desk, without leaving, except to use the restroom, for 48 hours and 36 minutes. He had fallen asleep at his desk at approximately 8:40. At 9:15, his CEO had placed a hand on his shoulder and told him, the company did not pay people to sleep. Marcus delivered all of this in his steady, unhurried way, standing in the doorway with his reading glasses on their cord. He did not editorialize. He did not use the moment for drama. He simply told what had happened, the way a man tells something true. When he finished, the office was quiet. Victoria looked at Connor. Connor was looking at the window. The Charlotte skyline, gray and bright in the March morning. He looked like what he was, a man at the outer edge of his reserves, held upright by nothing more than the habit of composure. "Why," Victoria said slowly, "did you not call me?" He turned from the window. "We had it," he said simply. "We didn't need more people. We needed less noise." Marcus, in the doorway, made a small sound that might have been a laugh. Victoria Langford had built her company on the principle that high standards protect people, that expectations held clearly and applied consistently create the kind of organization where everyone can trust the ground beneath their feet. She had been right about that. She still believed it. But she understood, standing in her office on a Wednesday morning in March, that she had walked onto a floor, seen a surface, and prepared to make a judgment without asking a single question first. She was 41 years old. She had been running organizations for 15 years. She had given speeches about the importance of the full picture, and she had looked at a man asleep at his desk and seen, for just a moment, only what the surface offered her. Connor Raines had spent 48 hours protecting 14,000 people he would never meet. He had done it without being asked beyond the first call, without overtime forms or formal authorization or any discussion of compensation. He had done it because it needed doing, and he was the one who could do it. He had fallen asleep not because he didn't care about the company. He had fallen asleep because he had given the company everything he had. Victoria sat down, which was unusual. She processed difficult things on her feet. But she sat down, and she was quiet for a moment, and then she said, "Connor, I owe you an apology." He looked at her with those tired eyes. "You didn't know," he said. "I should have asked before I assumed," she said. "That is a basic thing, and I didn't do it." She said it plainly, without excessive ceremony, the way people who hold themselves to standards admit when they've fallen short of their own. Connor nodded once, accepting it the way a tired man accepts something, without needing it to be more than it is. Marcus Webb, still in the doorway, said quietly, "I should have called you Monday night. That's on me. We were focused." Victoria looked at him. "Next time," she said, "call me. I can handle information at 11 at night." "Yes," Marcus said. "I know that now." There was a pause in the room that was not uncomfortable, the kind of pause that follows an honest exchange between people who are going to be fine and know it. Then Victoria said, "Go home, Connor. Sleep in an actual bed. Take tomorrow as well. Come back Friday if you feel like it, Monday if you don't." She paused. "And when you come back, I would like to talk about your compensation. Properly." Connor stood. He was steadier on his feet than he had been in the chair, which was the particular resilience of young bodies that recover in motion. At the door he turned. "The client data is clean," he said. "I checked the final report before I—" He paused. "Before I stopped." "I know," Victoria said. "Marcus told me." He nodded. And then he went home, through the glass lobby and the Charlotte morning, to sleep for 14 hours in his own bed with his phone turned off, for the first time in 2 days. There is a thing that happens sometimes. In organizations that are run by people of genuine integrity, a mistake is made, not a malicious mistake, not a lazy one. The kind of mistake that comes from moving fast, from the pressure of standards, from the human limitation of being able to see only what is directly in front of us. And then the mistake is found, and named, and corrected. Not with fanfare, not with excessive self-recrimination, just with the quiet, steady work of someone who holds themselves to the same measure they hold everyone else. Victoria spent that Wednesday differently than she had planned. She sent a note to the full company, not long, just a paragraph, saying that Connor Raines and Marcus Webb had spent 48 hours protecting the company's systems from a significant attack, and that both of them had her deepest gratitude. She did not editorialize. She did not explain the morning's events. She simply made sure that the people who had done the work were seen for it, in front of everyone. Marcus, when he read it in the server room, took off his glasses and cleaned them, which was what he did, his colleagues knew, when something moved him. Connor read it Friday morning when he came back in. He read it at his desk in a clean shirt, with coffee and 8 hours of sleep behind his eyes. He sat with it for a moment. Then he put his phone in his pocket and started his morning checks, the way he always did. The monitors were green. The network was quiet. Outside the windows, Charlotte was bright in the early spring. Perhaps what life teaches us slowly and not always gently is this. We will all be misjudged at some point, seen at the wrong moment, understood incompletely by someone who didn't have the full picture and didn't think to ask for it. And we will all, at some point, be the person who looked at the surface and made the quick judgment. What matters is not the mistake. What matters is what we do when we discover it. Whether we can say plainly and without theater, "I was wrong. I should have asked. I'm sorry." A company is in the end a collection of people trying to do something together. And the health of any collection of people comes down, finally, to the same simple things it has always come down to. Whether we see each other fully, whether we ask before we assume, whether we are willing to look at what we got wrong and correct it and go on. Connor Raines went on. Victoria Langford went on. Marcus Webb went on in the server room, with his glasses on their cord and his steady, quiet competence. The work continued. The screen stayed green, and somewhere in the Charlotte morning, 14,000 people went about their ordinary lives, unaware of the long night that had been spent, quietly and without ceremony keeping them safe. As it should be, as it always is, with the best kind of work and the best kind of people,